Hello, hello.
You're so chipper. Oh my gosh.
I try to be, I get excited when we're doing this. I do. I get really nervous.
Yes.
And
I was like, when did excitement happen?
I translate my nervousness into excitement.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
So now that we've plumbed my psychological depths, welcome to 3 of Skeins, episode 59. I'm Lisa.
I'm Cryss.
Hi, y'all. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we have a giveaway.
I'm sorry?
We have a giveaway.
Oh, that's right. You want to do that right at the top?
Did you forget already?
I did. We literally just generated a random number. And
okay.
It's gone.
So if you didn't see the last video before Thanksgiving, we said we're going to do a giveaway. And if you commented on that video, you would be entered in the drawing. Mm-hmm. And so we picked randomly from the comments. And I promise it was random. But the winner of our giveaway is Jackie at Crochet ADHD. And are we showing what?
Yeah, okay. Why not? It sounds like fun. So the first thing that's going to go into the package is this nifty little wrist ruler. This one is in turquoise. Now, it can be worn as a bracelet, and I totally find it helpful for when, your pattern says keep going for 7 inches. Mm-hmm. It's just enough. You don't have to get out your big tape measure or find it, because usually for me, it's finding the tape measure.
Because you don't have your dumplings put together.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Who invented the dumpling?
Mom and Lisa don't keep all their supplies together. So when they are actively stitching, they need scissors and they need a tape measure or whatever. And usually, especially if it's mom, I get enlisted in helping to find those things, even if I'm busily stitching myself. Mm. So I have all my stuff together so that I don't have to disturb my neighboring stitchers while I am stitching.
Well, there you go. Anyway, there's a wrist ruler. This is Juniper Moon Farm Neve.
Is that a cotton?
Yes, it's 100% cotton. It's a chainette. So you're going to love it. It feels like a kitten. It's so soft. And this is Stargazer. It is a llama and silk. Delicious. So some new yarns to play with. We're also throwing in the 40th anniversary issue of Vogue. And because I am all about crafters building their craft libraries, we are throwing in, this is a how to crochet. But it's so much more than that, because it has all the basics you might want to know. Things you might want to look up, how to do various kinds of stitches, the best way to measure swatches, using yarn over to change yarns, just all sorts of good things to know that will just make you a better technical stitcher. So this is our prize package, and I hope you enjoy it. So send us your information, and we will pop this in the mail for you.
Send an email?
Oh, knitsheep@gmail.com. I'm just going to... Can you put those over there? Let's pretend we have a table over there. You don't know.
We're so organized. I love it.
Terribly so. So that was our giveaway. Yay. So what you been up to, Cryss?
So it's been a while since you saw me with an FO, and I don't have one now. Mm-hmm. But I have a half O. I've halfway finished the project I'm currently working on, and it is a top. And I think I talked about it in the last video that it was going to be just basically a tube top, raglan shaping, asymmetric hem, and it's going to have a cowl neck. And so I finished. Now she's curling all the curls, so we're just going to pretend she's not. But so this is my top. See, that's the raglan shaping there. Mm-hmm. And just straight up and down body. And then put your hand there.
Sure.
And then this is my asymmetric hem.
Oh, wow.
See. Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's just going to be a basic top. And then, I'll do my cowl neck last. Now, I did my gauge swatch like a good little girl. And everything's working out just like I needed to. But then when I got up to the raglan shape, I got a little lazy. So we'll hope it fits in the top. It could get a little hinky around the bust area, but I can come up with some fixes if I need to. I'm not terribly worried about it.
Okay.
But don't do that. If you're going to do your mathifying, do your mathifying for every part of the garment.
What should they have done to make that come out?
So I needed to figure out the width at the top here and then the width at the bottom, and then figure out how many decreases I needed to do. Okay. I just guessed at the decreases, and we'll see.
Okay. You like to live dangerous.
I do. I do.
All right.
But this is the front or the back. But I had this yarn, marionated yarns. The color, this green color is called Ghostbuster because basically same color as Slimer. I love it.
I like that. Yeah.
It's a sock yarn.
Scrumptious
no, it's an MCN. It's Scrumptious HT is the base, and HT stands for high twist, and it's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Did not realize that. But I had two. Technically, we have a few more skeins, but I took these 2 skeins, and I was like, I don't want to use more than 2 skeins to make my top. So once I got to a certain point, I just switched yarns, and the yarn at the top is from Apple Fiber Studios, and I know the base is called Gala, which I believe is a 75-25 merino nylon. But I love how well these greens go together.
Yeah,
that is crazy. It looks like the yarn just started magically producing purple in the top. And I can't believe how well because the Apple Fiber Studios, I've had that for years. I got that in a yarn club. And I can't believe how well it goes with the other green. And it's always fun to just like pluck something out of the stash and make it useful. So I'm really excited about that. So let me show you how much I had left of that first skein. This is basically like, I don't know, like 2 yards.
You know what? Butterfly that up and you can use it for sewing up because that's amazing.
But that's what I got. So it'll be the same for the back. The back and the front are going to be made exactly the same. So at least now I know I have enough yarn to do that. And
what stitch pattern did you use?
I alternated rows of single and double. I don't like all double crochet. I like all single crochet just fine. But all double crochet, it gets weird and gappy, and I don't really like it. So I always try to throw in another stitch with my double crochet. Although I do like linked double crochet. That's actually a very pretty stitch. So I don't think it'll be terribly
I don't think it's going to be a problem.
But yeah, this is. Oh, look, see, my shoulder straps are lining up with one of my favorite tank tops. Me like it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's going to be really simple. I was making this and watching Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. An utterly unnecessary series. Oh my gosh. But it kills the time. There were 8 episodes, and it got me through my top. Because sometimes I watch YouTube videos, but then you have to keep changing videos. They're all different lengths. So I find a series where I know I can get like an hour at a time. Very convenient. I also worked in a little bit while I was watching Wednesday on Netflix, which is ridiculous. Here's the thing. Ignore the mystery altogether. Who cares? No one cares about the mystery. It's just Wednesday being Wednesday. And as long as you don't care about who actually done it because you figured out very early, it's actually quite funny.
I haven't finished it. I've only watched, I think, I've watched the first episode fully. I started the second, didn't finish it yet. But I think it's adorable. I feel like it brings up all of the good memories I have of watching the Addams Family. It has the same tone.
Zeta-Jones as Morticia.
She lacks the charm of
I'm
the
a little
original
underwhelmed.
Morticia. But the guy playing Gomez is hilarious.
Wow. But I find that, I don't know if this happens to anyone else. If you are binging something while making your garment, every time I put on the garment, I remember my binge. And I think about that show.
Absolutely.
The garment just becomes associated with that show or movie in my mind. And so chances are Wednesday is going to come up for me every time I wear this. But there was some knitting and crochet in that show that apparently this crochet sweater vest she wore is just lighting up forums across the internet. And I'm probably going to do a version of it.
Oh, yeah. She's been talking about that for a couple of days.
It's cute. It's really cute. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. And I have made progress. I'm like halfway finished with it.
Go, girl. I took a little break over Thanksgiving from my knitting because I had been like ferociously knitting for a minute. And I feel better for it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had taken a very long break, so no more breaks for me. I broke all the breaks.
Where am I now in this project? So as you guys know, I am working on my Dofuku jacket, and I'm all conflummoxed. You know what? Don't put swatching and everything in one bag.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
I'm not going to do that anymore because now I'm all caught up. I'm not going to take everything out of the bag like I intended to. So I finished the back of the Dofuku, and I finished one front completely, and I have a start on the second front. I'm at the point now where I'm starting my decreases on the second front. So I'm hoping that by the end of the week, I will have the second front completed, and it'll be time to join up my pieces and then pick up my sleeves. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. I think she's gonna be pretty. I love the texture.
Warm.
Yeah, it's merino wool, and it's got a bit of loftiness to it, so it's gonna trap warm air next to my body. So it's gonna be lovely. So this is kind of how she goes. So here's the back. Here's the finished front, and it's gonna have a nice little band here, and I will be joining it up using a technique called a 3-needle bind off, 3-needle I-cord bind off. So I will be building the I-cord at the same time that I am joining the pieces together.
Are you using DPNs or flexi flips?
I will use 1 DPN and my regular needle, because I find with I-cord having that short little needle, just it's easier. Anyway, that's where we are. It's still in pieces, but it's okay.
I like working piece things. I know people like the whole seamless thing, but I feel like it comes with built-in breaks and there's more room to make adjustments. And I don't know. I like making things in pieces.
Me too, actually. I don't mind pieces at all.
I hate seaming, but it comes with the territory. What are you gonna do?
I don't mind seaming.
Yeah, she doesn't.
I don't mind seaming at all.
She don't mind weaving in ends. I wish I could get there.
I don't mind seaming, but you know what? I find that seamed garments, they kind of hold their shape better. And that's one of the things I like about having seamed garments. Like Rachel's sweater, not only was that pieced at least at the shoulders, I put a ribbon at the shoulders too. And you saw the picture of how it was just like sitting up.
Rachel got her sweater vest, and she wore it to school today, and she loves it.
Yeah,
she absolutely loves it, and she might want to learn how to knit.
I know. I'm so excited.
I don't know if she has the patience for knitting.
I don't know either, but you know what?
She draws, and she puts so much effort into her drawings, but she really loves drawing. Yeah. So for her, it's not an effort, but
it's worth the effort.
Yeah, it's worth the effort. But I don't know if she's gonna feel that way about knitting. We'll see.
We'll see.
Because you tried to teach her to knit when she was younger, and
it didn't stick.
Not so much.
It didn't stick, but it's okay. You know what? We all need to try things. I say, look, if a kid expressed interest in anything, let them try it. You don't know. You don't know what's gonna stick. What else you got? I see you have a book there.
Oh, don't act like she don't know what the book is, because she's the one that incepted me. We were at Joann. I don't even remember why we went to Joann, but we were at Joann. And out of nowhere, Lisa pops up with these 2 pattern books. And she was like, oh, look what I found for you guys. And I was just like, I went in Joann not intending to spend any money, not looking for anything, not planning to buy a daggone thing. And then Lisa just shows up with, I only got one of the 2 books. She tried, but I only halfway fell for the inception.
Did you want me to have seen this book and then just left it there?
No, it would. Look, I be trying not to spend money sometimes, and then this one. But this is Amazing Japanese Crochet Stitches Only this one has the benefit of being in English. Because remember, I have a Japanese Stitch dictionary. And English, not so much.
Not at all.
It's really just the title. That's it. But this has stitch patterns. And it's one of those books that I like, that it has like edgings and it has motifs as well as just regular stitch patterns for working in squares. So it gives you,
excuse me.
Jesus, bless you. Mercy. Okay, that's your one.
That's my one.
Lisa says we only get to sneeze once a day.
You get to sneeze once for 24 hours. Oh, you can't hide.
I can't. Okay. Anyway, it has a lot of different styles. Oh, look at that. What the heck? I will never do this. That's not what I say. I will never do that, but it's gorgeous.
Now I want you guys to write down that she said she's never going to do it, right? And let's see the summer dress she comes up with.
Anyway, but this is actually one of my favorite stitch patterns that's in the book. I love that. And this is done in mohair, so you know it's going to look good in just like a really, really light yarn.
Yeah.
But it also has projects in it as well. So it has a couple of shawls. If you look on the back, that'll give you an idea of some of the things that they have in here. I love this thing right here, the little capelet. That's gorgeous.
Is that the one that converts into a vest?
I don't think so. I don't know. Right. So yeah, my totally unplanned purchase at Joann was Amazing Japanese Crochet Stitches, but I like it.
Let us know in the comments if you are shopping with your, crafty buddy and you see something that's perfect for them and they didn't see it at all. Would it be right to just leave it there and say nothing?
If your crafty buddy is trying to spend less money, wouldn't you just
And you found a coupon.
I found the coupon.
There you go.
But because you know what, Joann, they used, they had like the 50% or 40% off of one item at full price coupons, and you could use them on books. But then for a while, they took those coupons away from books, and people raised holy hell. So now you can use coupons on books again, except the books are never full price anymore. They're always at least 20% off. So you can't use that discount off of a full price item coupon anymore. But there was a coupon that gave you 20% off of your total purchase, even things that were on sale. So it was 20% off, and then I got another 20% off. So at least it wasn't full price, but it was more than the $0 I intended to spend. What's the point? But it's okay because I actually do like the book.
I knew she would love it.
The other book was it was another Japanese stitch dictionary, but it was part crochet stitches and part knitting. Yeah. And I didn't want to fall in love with the stitch, and then it was knitting and not crochet, and yeah. So I got the one that was just all crochet.
There you go. And did I get even a thanks? Like, oh wow, thanks. No,
you don't thank the person who incepts you.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, so that was our trip to Joann. I don't even remember what day that was. And then Thanksgiving came up, and we had a lot of food, although not as much food as we usually have, and I have regrets. I think because every year she's like, oh, we should try to make less food for Thanksgiving. And don't get me wrong, no matter how much food we make, it doesn't go to waste. We eat it all, over the next several days, and there's bones, we make soup, it's a whole thing. So there's no food waste. But she's always saying we make too much food. So this year, I think we really pared down, and I didn't like it. So next year, it is on, and as they say, popping. But Black Friday, we just went to two yarn stores because you wouldn't catch me in a mall on Black Friday. No. And so we got, we did a little yarn shopping, a tiny little bit. And the first store we went to was the yarn shop at Alma Park, which is a working alpaca farm. And little alpacas were out, and they were really cute. And she was having a sale. So Rose also spins and she dyes. And she had her hand dyed discounted 20%, which I think she only does it once a year. Yeah. So I got a couple of skeins, and I'm very excited about what I got. And I should say, I think I did really good price-wise because these are both 20% off. One was 14, one was 16 full price. So together, I only spent like maybe $24 on 2 full size skeins of yarn. That's like wonderful. But this one is a brand I've never heard of before, Illimani. And I'm guessing this yarn is called Sabri. And it is 85% organic cotton and 15% baby alpaca. And I've always been dubious about these yarns that combine cotton with alpaca or merino or what have you, because cotton tends to be heavier and dense. And I don't know if having a little bit of that other kind of yarn will lighten it up at all. I don't know how, the 2 fibers will act when you're washing them. So I was curious, and I figured like at this price, $16, 20% off, I could experiment a little bit. So they were all natural colors. They were all like undyed or very light. So they were all like linen and slate and whatever. Whatever colorway. Yes. But it does feel very, very nice. It's got heck of squish, and I don't know. I'm very curious to see what this is going to do. I'm looking forward to playing around with this a little bit. But then I also got some of Rose's yarn. So this is from Yarn Shop at Elm Park. And this is the Donegal Tweed Sock Base, 85% merino and 15% nylon neps. Love that. And my plan is actually, and so this is undyed. My plan is actually use these 2 together. So I'm just going to get little pops of color from the neps, and that's it. And I want to just make a plain t-shirt, because my plan is to come up with a design for a t-shirt, come up with a design for a tank top. And those will be things that when I have a small amount of yarn, I can just kind of crank them out. So if I find a color that I think is really pretty and I just want to, use like 1.5 skeins or 1 skein and some minis or whatever, I can just make a small item. And I want to just know ahead of time how many stitches I need and what hook size I'm going to use. And it'll just be a standard thing that I make over and over again. So I'm going to design my t-shirt using this. And then I will just be able to make t-shirts all the time. Well, finger and weight t-shirts. I don't have to adjust if I use different weights of yarn. But I want to have like just a standard t-shirt that I can make over and over again without really thinking about it once I've got like the dimensions set. So that is the plan for these 2. And that was all I got. And I was very good and very proud of myself. What did you get?
Ting! I just heard the light hit your halo. I also got precisely 1 skein of yarn. This is Barocco Wizard. I think she's just lovely. I wanted something with soft colors, and I wanted something that was a little bulky, because I'm thinking about a sweater I want to make later in the winter. I want to make the, what's she called? The Weekender. Because you know what? I wanted to make a basic casual sweater that will take the place of a sweatshirt. And it has the type of shape that I want. And I didn't have any yarn that was quite the right weight to get it together for me. So I got this. It's a chainette, so it's going to be light and lofty. It has a little bit of halo to it, and it's going to stripe.
What is it made of?
Oh, it's just superwash wool and nylon. So it's going to be washable.
And can you tell me the name?
Oh, yeah. Barocco Wizard. Okay. Yeah. There we go.
I like that too. I almost bought some. I came that close. I already had this in my hand. But, it's a chainette. I love chainettes.
And feel it. It's so wafty.
Don't. I just said, I want that. And she's like, feel it. Feel what you can have.
But what I like to do with a yarn, especially a yarn I haven't used before, look at that.
Yeah, Barocco. Their put-ups are very nice and very convenient. The Ultra Wool, nice, tidy center pull. Love it.
The end was just peeking out, so I just pulled it out a little bit.
I wish everyone would put up the yarn exactly the way Ultra Wool is done. And it stacks nicely, too.
It sure does. So what I like to do is, when I haven't used a yarn before, I'll get 1 ball of it. And I'm going to use this ball to do all of my swatching. And if I have any left, I can always add it to the sweater. I will probably have some left. I'm not going to say I'm going to swatch with the. Well, then you know what though? That way, if I bought a whole sweater's worth of it and it wasn't right,
I don't have sweater. You find something else to do with it.
But then I would have to now search again, and I wouldn't want to buy another sweater's worth and another sweater's worth.
Good job.
I get one, especially with a yarn like this that I know that there's more of in the world. It's not like
unless it gets discontinued. You saw what happened to our t-shirt.
I know, girl. That was sad. But there's more of this, and it's new this year, so I don't have to worry about it being discontinued till next year. And I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try making my swatch out of this, and it's a little bit bigger than what's recommended in the pattern, but chainettes tend to stretch out a bit, and they always knit up now smaller than you would think they would. So they recommend that you use, I believe, a US 10 on this.
That seems big.
Yeah, 10 to 10.5, 6 to 6.5 millimeters. I tend to be a loose knitter from the get-go, so I'm probably going to go down to like a 9 or an 8 to try first. Because if I knit this with a 10, it's just going to be loose and gappy. So I will be making a
Will this be your first Andrea Mowry project?
Yes. Yes. But I saw it, I was like, I really like that. And I've been looking for something to take the place of
it's
sweatshirts.
really just a very basic sweater.
Yeah. And it'll just have a little pizzazz because it'll have these cute stripes.
So that was the first shop we went to. And then since we were already out, I was like, well, let's go to another yarn store.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't planned that at all.
Yeah. I was like, well, which one's closest to us? Use the GPS.
So then we went to Knit One Stitch 2. And we haven't been to, I think, Ella Park or Knit One Stitch 2 since Wool Walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice to get back to both of those stores. Now, Lisa, in an act of superhuman discipline, didn't buy anything at the second yarn store.
Because I'm looking for big beefy yarn, and I didn't really see anything.
Really? You didn't see this? So this is Jody Long Glam Haze, and it's alpaca and mohair, and it's got those beautiful like gold metallic threads in it and all kinds of halo. And so the book that I have, Knit, Fold, Pleat, Repeat, I might do that little triangle top.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, out of this. Is it still in there?
No, sadly.
Okay. But look back a couple episodes. You see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I might do it out of this because this is going to be like nice and light and airy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think it'll be lovely. So I just got 3 of these. And I don't remember at all how much they cost. I don't know if I have a receipt in here. But I did not do as well at this store as I did at Alma Park. But not terrible either. Because I think my yarn and Mom's yarn together came up to like $66. So, and Mommy got 3 skeins and I got 3 skeins. So
yeah, that's not bad.
Not awful.
Like this one ball is $24.
Yeah.
And I actually I got it for 19 and change
because of the
20% off.
So that was all I bought in the store.
You online shop too and didn't say a word?
My yarn is not here yet, but let me tell you what happened. So I've spoken before, I think, about less traveled yarns. And I just really love the colorways that Dyer does. And I made 2 sweaters with her yarn. And this woman had the nerve to send out an email saying her yarn was going to be 30% off.
And you didn't say a word.
30% off. And died. For a dyer whose colors I really, really like. So I got the email on Wednesday because newsletter subscribers got 1 day advance notice of the sale. And I didn't buy anything. And so then we went out shopping and we got yarn in stores. And I was just like, okay, I don't need to spend any more money. But it was the last day of the sale. And I was like, if you don't, you'll regret it. And so I may have picked up just a couple of things. They haven't arrived yet because she's in Arizona. I'm waiting for it to, cross the country. So probably by the next episode, I will show you what I got.
I'm feeling away.
I don't regret it, but I feel like I was naughty.
Because you were.
I hadn't intended to spend any more money.
You didn't say a word. You could have let a sister know.
I didn't know you were looking. I didn't know you were shopping.
I would at least have looked.
Oh my God.
And if you seek, you shall find.
You know what? You better subscribe to her newsletter.
I see that.
Because she does do this. Because I bought this yarn from her before that I showed on the podcast, Chocolate Neons.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically the base yarn is brown and then she used neon dyes and you got like these really beautiful unexpected colors. And when I bought that, I got it 20% off. And so I just bought some more of that 30% off to make sure I had enough to make a sweater. And as I haven't paid full price for this yarn yet, I'm very excited about that. But yes, I got a little bit of yarn still coming.
Jesus. I feel away now.
Why?
Because I'm, imagining what could have been.
You got FOMO?
I got FOMO. All the FOMO. All the FOMO. Oh.
Yeah, that was everything. That was all of my yarn shopping.
Okay, girl. All right. I see you.
And I'm very happy that most of what I bought, I already have plans for it. You know what I mean? So hopefully it'll sit around and stash till I get to that project.
Yeah.
But I think I know what it's going to become.
Because that's happening to me now too. I'm stacking up projects that I want to do. I have like yarn pulled. I have the pattern. I'm like ready to go.
It's hard. Okay. I should mention, if you saw, we did an additional video about some books we read, some knitting cozy mysteries. And I read the first book in a series called A Vampire Knitting Club. And so I'm actually reading book 2 right now. It's so silly. But it's about this woman who does not knit, who operates a yarn store, and she has vampires who meet in her yarn store at night for their knitting group. And they knit supernaturally fast. So they can crank out a whole sweater because the vampires like to take turns making her sweaters. And they can crank out a sweater in like a couple of days. And I'm like so jealous. I cannot lie. I'm so jealous. I'm like, I wish I could knit supernaturally fast. Like, because the main character, Lucy, is always describing how when they knit, the knitting is a blur. You can't even really see it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if only.
If only.
What an excellent use of supernatural ability.
Okay. But you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because we should tell people. We're going to start having a second video on Fridays.
We're going to try.
So most Fridays. It's going to be a little rocky when we first start, but we'll get into the groove.
Yeah. So
we have one coming up on Friday. And by the time you see this video, that one will have been. So, and it's called We're Reading Knitlit. So take a look. It'll just be some silly shenanigans, maybe a tutorial. Who knows? It could be anything.
Right. I'm jealous of knitting vampires right now because they can knit really fast. And I would love to knit. I'm like, would I become a vampire if it's just crocheting faster?
Just so you could crochet faster? That would be this. You know what? That would be sadder than a Charlene Harris vampire I saw one time in the series who ended up working the night shift at a gas station. Oh. He goes, vampires don't start out rich.
Yeah, no, they don't.
He was like a vampire for like 3 months and he had to get a job.
Ain't even a vampire sugar mama.
No. He's not the type to get a sugar mama.
But yeah, I know it's perfectly ridiculous, but every time it's mentioned in the story, I'm just like, oh.
Same. Would that it were me. To have been killed by a vampire.
You're supposedly working on one project at a time now, but you keep swatching.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I'm 100% committed to working one project at a time.
Even though it makes you very productive and you finish all the things.
Yeah, one thing each time. But I started swatching for my my cloak, and I think this yarn might be okay. I don't know. I did a tiny swatch with it held single, which is very small. And when I dropped my bag, it disappeared. But this big. And held single, this yarn is Whisper Lace. It is way too fine. It has like no body to it. On a size 3 0.25 needle, I had holes.
But you wouldn't just use it light, but then go up needle size, or
If I went up needle
you have the
size,
holes.
I have bigger holes.
There wouldn't be like a stitch pattern you could do that would compensate for that.
Not really, because everything I do would be airy. But I doubled it, and I use a 3.75 millimeter needle, because you see I'm still in the threes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the fabric that I got that I think I kind of like. Give that a feel. What do you think? It's not wholly. It's not completely see-through.
It's still very light.
It's incredibly fine. Yes, it is. But something that I noticed, I did like how the edge was curling and gave such a nice clean finish. So I think I might let my edges curl on this, just because I like the look. I was thinking about doing an I-cord, but doesn't this look like an I-cord?
That's cute.
So I'm already developing how I want this project to look just from the swatch. Now, this is not my final swatch. This is just my tester swatch to see if this needle size will be okay. I don't think I'm going to go up. I might try one needle size bigger, but I don't think I'm going to go much bigger than a 4 millimeter because I want it to be solid.
Yeah.
But this is where we're at so far. And I like how my stitch pattern is looking, because remember I told you I wanted to have a slight horizontal movement, but without a hard line. And that's exactly what I'm getting with this yarn. And I think this yarn is mostly superwash merino.
It's a woolen silk.
Yeah, with some silk in it. So it will drape. So my next swatch that you see will be a larger swatch. This one, the first one I did was only 10 stitches because I had the feeling it was going to be too holy. So I was like, let me just do 10 stitches and see. And yeah. So this one is 22 stitches. And the next one, and you see this is about 4 inches, it looks like. Oh, sorry. There's bits of yarn all over this house. So you know how people have cats, always have a little cat hair on them? We have yarn. There's always a little yarn on us. Since this is about 4 inches, I'll cast on about 44 stitches, and that should get me an 8-inch swatch. And I'll be able to really see what the fabric is like from that. This swatch was just to tell me, hey, is this needle too big? Is this going to be holy and cheesy? And I'm swatching in this pink color because Mom did a project with it and she has leftovers. So rather than pop open a brand new ball to test, I'm going to use up some of her leftovers. But that's
I'm planning to make a project out of that. So pick your colors so I know what.
Oh, I have a bag of my own.
Okay. I'm like, I have some plans for Whisper Lace.
The nice thing about this yarn, although it is insanely fine, each ball is like 500, almost 500 yards, if I'm not mistaken. 482 is somewhere in that vicinity, somewhere between 480 and 500 yards. So it goes a really long way.
I'm gonna make a sweater dress.
Is he now?
I is.
All right. Oh, try it out held with mohair. It's delicious. You don't have to hold it with anything. That's your dress. You do it your way. I'm going to test it held with a little mohair. Though.
You know, I really dislike being connected to more than one ball of yarn at a time.
Oh, you know what I've been doing? I've been winding them together so I have one ball.
That sounds like a lot.
Like when I pull out my real ball, if I use this, I'm going to just wind them together and make one ball out of them. Because you're right, being connected to multiple balls is not fun. But yeah, that's my swatch. That's my swatch job. It's my little tester. Like I said, I wanted to show you the little beanie one, but when I knocked my bag over, all was lost. All was lost.
But other than that, I think we just had a very relaxing Thanksgiving weekend. Ate all the food. We got this mousse cake, y'all, from Wegmans. It's like this chocolate dome, and it's mousse, and there's like little thin layers of cake in it, and it's gluten-free. And then there's like hard chocolate curls decorating the edge.
And one right on top.
If you like chocolate, I would definitely try the mousse dome from Wegmans because that was our dessert.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's rich. It's creamy. It's delicious. Oh my God.
And because it's so rich, a small piece. How long? I mean, we ate that for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Everybody had a slice every evening.
Ain't got to tell all the business.
I was saying, we did. We had a slice every evening for at least 3 or 4 days.
But it's really good. We just had it for the first time for Lisa's birthday, and we all liked it. So I was out running errands on Wednesday, and I was like, let me just go and snatch up some mousse because we need dessert for Thanksgiving.
But Mom and I are gluten free, so when we find something that's really good gluten free, we're like, yes.
And you like their macarons too.
Yeah, they did delightful
macarons.
You know what? They usually taste like nothing. These from Wegmans, whatever the color was, it told you what the flavor was, and it tasted like that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try some of those. I didn't have any, but
I shouldn't be advertising them.
Why not?
More for me.
Sponsorship.
Wegmans, if you'd like to sponsor us.
I will happily sit here and eat some chocolate mousse during the podcast, okay?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
There is some debate in online forums about whether or not YouTube videos should be called podcasts.
Oh, goodness.
And it is commonly used. People do call a video podcast, but some people are very wedded to the idea that only something that is audio should be called podcast. I just saw this come up again on Reddit, and I was just like, really? We're still arguing about this? I think where the confusion comes in is that what some people who already had audio podcasts started doing was recording video of themselves, recording their audio podcast. And that's how those videos came to be called podcasts.
Yeah.
As opposed to vlogs, which was the term most people were using to describe YouTube videos. However, that's gone on for quite some time now. So I think people have been using podcasts to describe videos.
I think so.
The term has transitioned.
I think the term transitioned too, because years ago, people used to do video podcasts on the iTunes store. And then iTunes kicked them all off unless they were willing to pay for storage of the video. So the video files are much larger. And that made a lot of people come over to YouTube because, YouTube did video.
I think the reason the term transitioned from audio was because people were recording video of their audio.
That too.
And so they were using the term interchangeably for podcast, meaning their audio as well as the video of the same. So the same exact audio you got, but now you can see video of people while they were talking, and the term transition. And some people have not accepted that.
And then now I think vlog just has a different meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's more like a storytelling, so people will do a day in the life or what have you.
Exactly. So when I say I'm doing a vlog, I am not doing a podcast. So the podcast is more like a talk show, in my opinion.
Exactly. It's a podcast. But some people have really strong feelings about it. It is wild. One woman said she got into an argument with her boss.
Oh. That sounds unwise. Over that? Nah.
Because she was adamant that podcasts are only audio.
Now, I don't really listen to a lot of knitting audio podcasts anymore, but back in the day, I certainly did.
I still am dubious about how that works. I have thought about doing audio only, but
podcasts preceded YouTube.
Yes.
So at one time.
But where do you show people what you're talking about?
You show them on other media. Like people used to have their own website, and if there was a picture to be shown, they'd say, "Oh, you can see the picture on my website." And then when Instagram came along,
I might experiment with that to see how it goes. But me dubious.
If you still listen to audio knitting or crochet podcasts, let us know which ones you listen to. I have been a long-term listener of the only one I really still listen to is the Knitmore Girls. Mm-hmm. I have been listening to them for like a decade now. Let's put it this way. I remember when their older daughter learned to walk, and I remember the birth of their younger son.
I never listened to, I never got into podcasts in general.
You know what? It was nice when they would lock us out of the Wi-Fi at work, and I get very bored sometimes. So it was nice to have something to listen to. And then when I got very friendly with the and always get very friendly with the people who run the Wi-Fi at your job, they will quietly slip your password. And you will have, or they'll make a little connection just for you. But don't say I told you. That's who you want to be friendly with. But it was always nice to have content that I was interested in, just to have on in the background when I was working, or if it's noisy. I don't know about you, but I used to work in an insanely noisy office.
Oh my God. I went there once. I was like,
so if I could put in my headphones and just have something to block out the noise. Yeah, it was noisy. It was an open office, and those of you who work in open offices, you know what it's like.
Did you have like a ticking clock or something? There was something that just made a steady noise all the time.
You probably noticed it, but I didn't notice it after a while.
Yeah. So my question is, do you consider YouTube videos podcasts? Because apparently this is a very divisive issue. I also consider them podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious what opinions are out there.
I don't consider every YouTube video a vlog.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. The art form has evolved.
It has. It has. It's so funny because it's amazing how long some people have been doing it, because I saw somebody doing a video who I haven't watched in a long time, and she goes, well, you know, I've been doing these videos for 10 years. And I was like, geez Louise, girl, I remember when you started.
Yeah, there's no one I've followed for that long. That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini. I get bored easily.
Okay.
I do. I don't know.
Me too. But I don't watch every single video everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I have my people that I know their faces, you know, when I see them.
Okay, so that's what's going on in the world of the Three of Skeins. Tell us about your Thanksgiving. What was your favorite dish that you had?
I think we are all unanimous about the moose.
The moose was really good.
Oh, and we tried Wagyu beef.
We did. We had. It was amazing. Yeah, it was American Wagyu. Yes, you know, who can afford, you know, Japanese Wagyu? But it's different, y'all. I thought it was all hype and propaganda. I mean, it was like, it's beef. How could it possibly taste any different? Because I have to say, I actually am not crazy about beef. I'm just not a big beef fan. But it's different. It's light and it's supple and it's moist. And
supple.
It's very flavorful.
Yeah.
And it's not at all tough. Not at all. And
it's cut it with a fork meat.
I couldn't imagine how it could possibly. And then we had regular beef a few days later. What I now call bad beef.
Yes, you called it bad beef for a long time. Oh my God.
And I'm literally spoiled for all other beef now. I don't know how we're gonna fix that.
It was pricey. It was not nearly as expensive as Japanese Wagyu.
Yeah, and we honestly saw something in the grocery store that was actually more expensive than the Wagyu, because it was like $64.
Yeah, we were like, never mind that.
We didn't spend that much on the Wagyu. But each year I try to do like a special little treat for us, and so this year it was Wagyu beef. If you haven't had it, get it,
and look up a good recipe. Because we got flat iron steaks.
Get it, grab it, get it.
It cooked in about 4 minutes, like total. I gave it 10 minutes of resting time, and I made a sauce for it, and it was absolutely delicious. And it didn't need to be left. And I see why people talk about, oh, the beef have to be super duper duper rare, just so I guess you can chew it. It was not like, I don't like.
Yeah, because I like I'm not crazy about pink beef.
Yeah, I like a medium to medium rare beef, but I'm not like one of those people that if it moves, it moves on the plate, it's okay. But they like their beef cooked a little bit more, so I was able to cook it a little bit more, and it was still just this buttery soft experience. So
OMG.
But don't feed them regular beef after that.
Yeah, please don't. There's no going back. So tell us YouTube videos, other podcasts, and what was your favorite Thanksgiving dish this year?
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you stayed this long. I'm going to have to remember to say that in the beginning. We're trying to get our numbers up, so I'd appreciate it if you could help us. And if you know somebody that would like our content, share the video. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Stay stitching.